Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Hana Nailah. I am an international relations student. Today I want to present to you about my research paper. It's about international relations students' perceptions of Indonesian Indomie diplomacy and its effect on the Indonesian economy. Alright, here the outline about my presentation. The first is introduction, second is literature review, next research method, and the next result, and then discussion, and the last is conclusion. The first is introduction. In this part, I would like to tell you is diplomacy is one of the concepts in international relations. Diplomacy is used by the states as the primary tool to achieve the national interest. Diplomacy is usually done in the form of negotiation between countries, which is an easy way to resolve different conflict of interest. So it can be said that diplomacy is a simple method to create a peaceful resolution of conflicts. Over the years, international relations have evolved. So many concepts have changed, including diplomacy. This development is evidenced by the emergence of soft power, consisting of cultural elements, value system, and policies. Thus, in the end, there is a mechanism in the form of soft diplomacy that can be called cultural diplomacy or gastro diplomacy. Indonesia has currently conducts of diplomacy such as gastro-diplomacy. Gastro-diplomacy is a form of diplomacy involving two or more two-way relationship aimed at influencing the hearts and minds of a foreign country or society. This gastro-diplomacy was done by Indonesia against Australia to improve bilateral relations between the two countries. It is because of the wiretapping scandal of communication conducted by the Australian government spy agency against top Indonesia officials, including the president. And then this gastro diplomacy is also conducted by Indonesia towards Nigeria through Indofood or Indomie to achieve food security and improve bilateral relations between the two countries. Africa is a continent that has a population of about 14% of the world's population. However, with this large population, the countries in this region experience obstacles in the economic and food sector. PT Indofood Sukses Makmur Tbk. See these opportunities. Indomie entry into the Africa market indirectly made Indonesia culinary fame. But both of studies discuss about gastro diplomacy. However, no one of these studies focus on international relations students' perception on gastro diplomacy. Therefore, this research aims at revealing the international relations students' perception of Indonesian Indomie diplomacy and its effect on the Indonesia economy. This research was conducted to describe first the perceived of international relations students toward Indonesian Indomie diplomacy, and then the second, the effects of Indonesian Indomie diplomacy on the Indonesian economy. Especially, I have to a research question. The first is how do international relations students respond on Indonesia Indomie diplomacy, and then what effects are emerging for the Indonesian economy after conducting Indomie diplomacy. Literature review. Indonesian Indomie diplomacy is included in gastro diplomacy, or also known as culinary diplomacy. According Rockwell, 2012, gastro diplomacy, which is one of the elements of soft diplomacy that use food as a means. The term gastro diplomacy refers to concert and sustained campaign of public relation and investment by government and states, often in collaboration with non-state actors, to increase the value and standing of their nation brand through food. Food is used to pursue diplomatic aims in government to public diplomacy. Gastro diplomacy builds on food as a common dimension of the lives and cultures of all people. It can be considered a tender-minded type of public diplomacy in that it does not exert influence by the advocating directly, but rather more obliquely quickly by striking emotional connection. And then according to Wilson 2011, that gastrodiplomacy is a form of public diplomacy that combines cultural diplomacy, culinary diplomacy, and nation branding to make foreign cultures real to be felt and touched. Gastrodiplomacy seeks to create emotional connection through understanding culture by using food as a medium to connect with one another. And the last, according Sam Keppel and Sokol, 2013, more, more precisely define gastrodiplomacy as the use of food and cuisines as an instrument to create a cultural understanding in the hopes of improving interaction and cooperation. The next is research method. My research paper is a quantitative research with questionnaire as an instrument to find out the perception of international relations student of University Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. Through a questionnaire, I'm collect the data. This research was conducted on international relations student at Muhammadiyah University of Yogyakarta. The participants for this research are 15 participants of 5th semester international relations student at Muhammadiyah University of Yogyakarta. The instrument consists of an online questionnaire that the research will give. Give the respondent 11 questions, and then I shared the Google Form link on social media such as WhatsApp, Line, Instagram, and etc. Next is result. This is the first result from the first research question. The first research question is international relations student response on Indonesian diplomacy. There is four statement, and then the first, the second, and the third statement is about international relations student perceive about international relations students knowledge about Indonesia diplomacy and what about gastro diplomacy, about they know about their knowledge. And then from this result, I see that all participants know about Indomie diplomacy, about what is gastro diplomacy. And then there is the fourth statement that the participant perception about the reason of Indonesia can be called a gastrodiplomacy. From this statement, the majority of the participants, around 60.7%, choose they believe because through Indomie it can increase international awareness in exporting Indonesia culinary heritage. And then participants, around 33.3%, choose because through Indomie it can promote food products from Indonesia as the second option. So the result from the first research question indicate that all international relations students know about gastro diplomacy, Indomie, and believe that Indonesia can be a diplomatic effort for Indonesia, and also majority, around 66.7%, they know what Indomie can called as a gastro diplomacy. Such question is the effect that emerging for the Indonesian economy after conducting Indonesia diplomacy. This data show about the effects of Indomie diplomacy for the Indonesian economy, and to address the second research question about the effects that emerging for the Indonesian economy after conducting Indomie diplomacy. Alright, the first statement shows the participants' perception about the reasons of Indonesia Indomie diplomacy that can affect the Indonesian economy. From the data, the majority of the participants, around 70 93.3% choose because Indomie can encourage economic investment through tourism and trade. And then the second option, participants around 33.3% choose because Indomie has a delicious taste. So many people are interested to buying it. And then the second statement show the participant feel about Indomie diplomacy can strongly effect on the Indonesian economy. From 1 until 5 point 1 is strongly disagree and point 5 is strongly agree. There are two participants around 13.3% choose point 3. That means they feel in the middle between strongly disagree and strongly agree or neutral that Indomie diplomacy can strongly effect on the Indonesian economy. Majority, there are 9 participants around 60% choose point 4. That means they feel agree that Indonesia diplomacy can effect on the Indonesian economy. 26.7% choose point 5 that indicate they strongly agree about Indomie diplomacy can strongly effect on the Indonesia economy. And no one choose point 1 and 2. And the next, for the statement 3, show the participant knowledge about the effect of the Indonesian economy after Indonesia conducted Indomie diplomacy. From this majority of the participants around 93.3% choose increase economic investment and trade, then formation of national branding. The second option is increase the Indonesian economy rapidly. That there's 6.7% choose the second option. Or that only 1% choose the second option. So the result that I can get from this data for the second research question indicate that international relations student majority around 70 73.3% believe that Indomie diplomacy can affect the Indonesian economy because Indomie can encourage economic investment through tourism and trade. They also strongly agree about Indomie diplomacy can affect on the Indonesian economy, and international relations students majority around 93.3% know that the effect of the Indonesian economy after Indonesia conducting Indomie diplomacy are increased economic investment and trade, then formation of national branding. Alright, the next part is discussion. This research paper shows that the international relations students' perception of Indonesian Indomie diplomacy and also its effect on the Indonesian economy. This research found that all participants know about gastro diplomacy and Indomie. International relations students believe that Indomie can be a diplomatic effort for Indonesia, and they also strongly agree that Indomie diplomacy can affect the Indonesian economy. This research also found the reasons of Indomie can be called as gastro diplomacy, and the result of is 66.7% report that through Indomie it can increase international awareness in exporting Indonesian culinary heritage. 73.3% participants believe uh, Indonesia Indomie diplomacy can encourage economic investment through tourism and trade, and 93.3% participants know that the effects of Indonesian economy after conducting Indomie diplomacy, such as increased economic investment and trade, and the formation of national branding. The result of this research, the majority international relations students believe that through Indomie diplomacy, it can increase international awareness in exporting Indonesia culinary heritage. It seems like previous study by Karisma and Sapwan dan Nur Ajijah 2018 report similar results to this research that gastro diplomacy was done by Indonesia against Australia to improve bilateral relation because of the wire-trapping scandal of communication that the Indonesian government through the Indonesia Consulate General is holding a culinary festival entitled Indonesian flavor to introduce Indonesian specialties to the people of Sydney and the Indonesian Embassy in Canberra, which serve traditional food and a traditional stage. Is also holding an Indonesia festival. Other results of this research is the effects of Indonesia Indomie diplomacy such as increased economic investment and trade and the formation of national branding. This finding supports a study by Ramadhani 2020 that the presence of Indonesia strengthens relation with Africa in overcoming problems there. After the opening of the Indomie factory, Indonesia Nigeria performed the trade of two strategic commodities of palm oil and crude oil because palm oil is the main raw material for Indomie products, which was controlled 74% market share in Nigeria with annual growth reaching 14%, and then like that. And then for other study by Fajri Ramadhani 2019, so gastro diplomacy that carried out by Thailand didn't intend to improve the Thailand economy but for Thailand image. Thailand is a country that first carried out gastro diplomacy in 2002 through the Thai Kitchen of the World program. Gastro diplomacy Thailand carried out using two ways: export and restaurant. The aims to change Thailand's bad image, which now is a tourism country, into a culinary tourism country. Thailand uses tom yum as the mainstay in this program. And then the success of Thai Kitchen of the World has helped changing the international impression towards Thailand. That now Thailand is one of the main destinations for foreign tourism who want to experience Thai culinary in their home country. The last is a conclusion. In brief, this research paper has surveyed international relations student perception of Indonesia Indomie diplomacy and its effect on the Indomie of the Indonesian economy. All participants knew about Indonesia Indomie diplomacy as gastro diplomacy that could increase international awareness in exporting Indonesia's culinary heritage, and they agreed that Indonesia Indomie diplomacy can affect the Indonesian economy. This research also affirmed positive significant effects of Indonesia Indomie diplomacy to Indonesia economy and the formation of national branding. It can be seen that Indonesia Indomie diplomacy increased economic investment and trade. For example, Indonesia Nigeria performed the trade of two strategic commodities of palm oil and crude oil because palm oil is the main raw material for Indonesia products, and from the example, Indonesia grew internationally in Nigeria, so it can form national branding. Based on the finding of this research, I think it is recommended for other Indonesia food companies to export their product to make their products internationally. This will make the national company to be a multinational company, and through this can also improve Indonesia gastro diplomacy. Uh, and then improve the Indonesia economy, and also they can forming national branding. Indonesia still needs a national company that develops into a multinational company to become one of major markets for the world. Alright, maybe here my last presentation. Thanks for your best attention. Sorry if I have many mistakes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.